Alright everybody, welcome back. We're gonna try something new today. So today I'm kind of just gonna move around the world a little bit and kind of just work on it and just chat, I guess. So for starters, there hasn't been any updates since my last video on this. So, nothing too exciting. Life's been pretty busy. However, I was kind of just like checking in on it and looking around. I think this is new. I was looking around and thinking this church area, cathedral, definitely needs some work. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense where it's at right now. So I'm thinking, my thought is to extend this platform out and kind of make it more of a rolling hill. Give the church a little bit of a yard, perhaps an orchard or some kind of greenery to make it feel more natural, because I don't like the idea of the city kind of wrapping around super close to it, especially because it's on like this plinth that isn't gonna work. So I think I'm gonna extend that down that way. I also think I want to add a water feature in to the world, possibly either conjoining with this river here that's already like naturally done, or trickling down kind of this way and then causing, like, as that extends, having a little bridge or a gap or some kind of like filter. I think that would be pretty cool. So that's the plan. Today, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get done. My creative process on this is normally just kind of fly around and do some maintenance things and fix things and then let stuff come to me. But I definitely want to extend this down, and I kind of like the idea of maybe a little orchard or even like a flower garden would be neat. Definitely need an outbuilding as well, because the priests that would be kind of running this, well, a bishop I guess would be running a cathedral, but this is Minecraft, so whatever. They would need somewhere to live, because the inside of this, please forgive me, this is a mess. Definitely doesn't have space for living quarters unless I dig down underneath, but I don't really, that's not becoming of a priest to live underground. So, yeah, I think that's going to be what I do first, is extend this down and kind of make it look more natural. And then maybe a little bit of landscaping here to fill this in. So, let's get started here. I think I just want this to go down naturally. So, that's what I'm going to do. The hardest part with the landscaping is getting the shape in, because the shape doesn't make a whole lot of, it's not there already, and it's definitely, you can tell when it's not right. So like right now, that's too sharp of an angle. I think I want it to be flatter. So a little bit more. It's going to be a lot of blocks. Maybe the church itself is up one, and then we'll start doing these platforms out like this. I've got plenty of space here, so I'm kind of mixing this out as far as I need. Yeah, that's closer. Let me fill it in a little bit, and that'll kind of give me a better idea. Get out of the way. There you go. Yeah. It's still a little steep. So, what if this road would be coming this way? This is kind of a mess. So yeah, like I was saying, I kind of just, the flow of consciousness is pretty much just like looking at it, adding blocks down, and kind of fleshing it out, and then doing tweaks here and there. And obviously, since I'm playing creative, I have a lot more freedom to restart things from scratch. It's not as time consuming, which is nice. So do I want the road to come through here? Is my real question. And like, what am I gonna do with this space here? Because this guy has windows on it. I mean, I can block that off and do another building here if the road comes this way. The problem is I don't want to do a lot of wilderness, because this is kind of, I mean, the way the city's developing is going to be kind of middle of the city, so it's not, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have a lot of open terrain here. So I could split the road in two, kind of have one road going around that way, because I do have a road that's going to come out here and hopefully eventually connect over there. And then I could also have another path that goes this way around the orchard to there, and I could do like a river, like a river gate kind of thing, or a bridge. But what would be in the middle? I mean, we are right next to a cathedral, so maybe like a planter, kind of like I did over here at the beginning of this town, just like a planter. So I think I'm gonna do that. I like that idea. So let's block that out, and then from there. So I like to block out anything in stone with cobblestone. I don't know why. It's just kind of like the default for me. Let me think. I'm gonna fill this in first. Alright, so I finished that just in time for nightfall to kind of come in, so let's skip that, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm good seeing things in the light. The dark's kind of sad. I'm gonna leave that bed there, because I'm probably gonna be here for a minute, and I might need to use it again, so that's not relevant. Alright, so flatten this area all out. Now I'm gonna kind of start working the road in here. I like to sketch things out with one color block, basically, or like one type of block before I texture it all and add some of like the variety that changes it, like breaks up that monotonous color. So that's what I'm gonna do with the road here. I'm gonna do a small road going that way, a small road kind of curving around that way, and then in the middle here we'll do like a planter. Another thing I always like to do is leave a little bit of grass or space kind of on the side of the building. This way I can add some foliage and break up the color, or trees or something. It makes it feel not as cramped, even though I am packing a lot of stuff all into the same area. So a little trick that I like to do is just leave a little bit, and then you can kind of make it feel like the city's got some life in it. So this is curving around that way. I think this might be all I do for this road right now. So I can go back to my original project before I get too sidetracked. Need a little bit of a gap for this crossroads, and then this guy's gonna come around this way. Alright. So that's that kind of sketched out. This road's a lot thicker than that one, so that's just something I'm noticing off the bat here, but that can be easily fixed. I can kind of feather it a little bit with... Yeah, that's better. This guy needs to be a little thicker here. I do my best to keep the roads, if it's the similar path, so because these are all the same kind of like It's a little crossroads. Realistically, carts would be, or foot traffic, it would be about the same traffic going on both, so they should probably be about the same size. Um, yeah, I find that I try to use real life in my videos to kind of like inspire the way builds are done. Obviously, it's Minecraft, and you can do stuff that wouldn't be happening in real life, and like kind of take that creative freedom. But it helps me at least have some structure and some idea to what I'm doing. So, a little tip, I guess, if you're struggling with how to build a city and make it look realistic, or buildings or anything in Minecraft, really, just think about how it kind of mimics in real life and do your best to copy that. All right, so onto this planter. I don't want it to be crazy big, because I think I'm going to stick a building kind of over that way, maybe. So this will just be kind of to split this gap. So again, I'm going to block it out in cobblestone, and then I'll texture it after, choose another block after, just so I can kind of keep it in my head. Also might be nice to have like a little natural thing to look at if you're eating at the cafe here. You can have the castle or the cathedral and some foliage, you know, maybe some squirrels and birds to look at. All right, so maybe I should have more structure. Let me go look at my other one for inspiration. I find myself doing this a lot because I've spent so much time over the course of years on this, on and off, that I don't remember exactly what my stuff looks like. But this helps me kind of A, get inspiration from my past builds, and B, keep kind of everything in the same. It all looks like it's the same because obviously I don't remember how I built this. I built this probably 5 years ago. So it kind of keeps everything feel connected and under the same theme. Kind of come over here and change this around a little bit, because that one's a little bit closer. So maybe something like that. And I'll do 2 trees in there, and then like I said, we can do a little building here. So extend this back a little bit further. Then do a building. So now when I'm plotting out buildings, unless I know exactly what I want it to look like, I will kind of just plop down an outline for it. Typically, because it's in this style, at least, I'm doing the corner log first, and then I make sure it's an odd number within, just like that. So that way I have a middle block inside of my stone walls. And then that's pretty much it. I don't like how this is going to be a big building if I do it that way. Again, I don't want to overshadow. I'm trying to keep all the buildings here pretty small or insignificant because I don't want to overshadow this build. So what would this even be? Again, if I can kind of think of what it would be realistically, then it kind of helps me maintain a theme. Anything close to the church, this would be definitely like a city center area. It could be an apartment, like apartments, or I don't think it would be a standalone house. It's probably a little odd to have here. It could be a shop, maybe. I think the door is going to be on this side. Maybe I'll have it be a shop. Maybe it'll just be like a clothes shop or something. Yeah, so in that case, I'm gonna make it a little smaller. So we'll break it down 1, and then kind of come out this way. So if it is gonna be a shop, I'm gonna need a space for. I'm gonna have to have a back area for backstock, and then I'm gonna have to have a front area for the actual sales floor. Because this one's so close to the cathedral and kind of city-ish instead of out in the suburbs or lower level area. He could probably just, the shopkeeper could just live in an apartment nearby. He doesn't have to necessarily live in the building. Or just trying to think of visuals too. Another thing I like to do when I'm building is I look at the visuals of the buildings, and like where, if I was on ground level, because I don't want to build this. The idea isn't to have it only be visible from above. I want it to look good from the ground level. So trying to keep that in mind when I'm plotting out buildings and when I'm doing how it's going to look from the ground level, what line of sights it's going to block, and anything like if a building's there, you won't be able to see the cathedral from that side, but that could be intentional, or the cathedral could just be peeking out above it, and that's always kind of cool for me, at least. If you're on the ground level, like you can kind of see things peeking over and be like, oh, what's that, and walk over to it. So like it gives me a very different feel. So like here, I definitely tried to make it feel like I was, your centerpiece here is the cathedral, right? So when you're walking on this street, I kind of want you to be able to like see the top of the cathedral and be like, oh, what's that big stone building over there, and kind of walk that way. Versus walking this way, it just feels like you're in a city. And then over here, you kind of have the castle in the background and the big mountain that I'm working on back there. So it's the same deal. You know, it's kind of like you pick a direction, but you need a focal point, because otherwise you're just going to wander aimlessly, which is cool too, but giving your audience a little bit of a direction, at least myself, a little bit of a direction, I think that's really cool to be able to explore something. And I be able to peek over and be like, what's that? What's that? That's kind of how sometimes how life works in real life when you're traveling to a new place or something. At least for me, I kind of have a general idea of what I want to go see. But while I'm walking there or traveling there and I see something else, it's like, oh, what's that? And then kind of look into it and explore. It's a good way to create an adventure. And that's kind of all, this world is a creative outlet, but I'm also, I don't know, someday I'd like to have people kind of explore it and like have it be something fun for people to look at. So, yeah, I'm so sidetracked right now. back to what I was doing. See, nighttime makes me want to just explore the city because I love what it looks like at night with the lights. But it's not great for building. So let's take a quick break. Okay, new day. Back to my shop that I don't know what I'm doing with. So if I have this road going this way, I'm gonna be able to see that. If I build, there's gonna be bushes here that block it. I think that this building shouldn't be too tall, but I think it could be 2 stories. So I'm gonna do 2 stories. I'm gonna make it kind of apartment-ish. Problem is it has to look good from both sides, because if this is gonna be an orchard, you're gonna be able to see it as well. So I think I'll do living quarters above, shop on the bottom, and then that might be cool. That means I need to keep it kind of rectangular-ish. That's gonna be a square. I don't want to do a square. Do something like that. That's probably a good size. This is gonna be a really big building. Maybe it's gonna be, maybe it'll be 2 shops. Okay, so that's gonna be my building. Definitely could split that up. Split it up a little bit. Now, because of where I'm at in the city, I like to keep buildings kind of connected, interconnected as much as I can, kind of like those ones are. Just because there would be a whole lot of standalone buildings out here, or like as more people moved into the area and kind of like built up, they would build basically on top of each other, fit as many people as possible in. So this one I'm going to connect to another building, and when I do that, there's 2 ways I can do it. So I don't like spreading it out that way, having the same like corner block, just because it can make the walls too thin, I guess, in a way, where if I want both buildings to be different colors, that conjoining wall, I have to pick one, and it's going to look a little funky from the inside, or if you can see it from the outside, it'll look a little weird. So I kind of like to keep them connected, but also not connected. So like they're touching, but that way this gives me 2 separate walls. When the buildings are constructed, you won't be able to see that join, so it's not going to look too weird. Right now it does, but you know, it is what it is. And then this will just be more apartments. Oops. Something like that. These are going to be really thin ones, but that's okay. And I am off a block because I'm silly and new. Yeah, something like that. So that way there's a clear, like, directions. If you want to go to the right, you go that way. If you're going to want to keep going left in the city, you'll go that way. So with that in mind, I'm going to build up this wall just so I have a little bit of a mental block for this planter space. I'm going to texture it and make sure the shape, I like the shape. So texturing it, I'll just take one of each of the blocks that I use. I could use tough blocks now. Those are newish, at least. If you'll notice they're not used throughout the city a lot of the time. I just haven't incorporated them, and like I have them a little bit here on some of the newer buildings, but they don't fit super well with everything. I think in like the color scheme they add a little bit of something, but I kind of like that these colored blocks all match the same gray tone. So I don't think I'm gonna use those. It's because I haven't used them in the cathedral, and that's gonna, if I start to use them in this area, it's gonna be a little shocking, at least visually. So let's kind of flesh this out, and I can texture it while I'm also adjusting the shape. And texturing it, this is just totally random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just kind of planting stuff down, and then if I don't like something or if too many blocks are together, I can just change it. So like over here, there's not a lot of stone, so I'll plop in one of those. And double block too, because that adds a little bit to it. And there you go, that's textured. Still that gray color, but now it's not all just cobblestone. So something kind of cool. Now, what kind of tree do I want to put here? I have oak trees kind of everywhere. There's a little birch grove here. Maybe something a little different. Maybe I do another birch tree, kind of like this planter over here. Yeah, we'll try that. Alright, I haven't built a tree in a while, so bear with me here. I don't know if I'm going to use these sticks, or these fence posts, but we'll take them anyway. So, the tree is going to be the centerpiece for this thing, and then I'll fill the rest of it with some bushes and whatnot. So, when I'm building trees, kind of just start building it up and doing a shape. Realistically, you want it to be out in like a circle. You basically build the branches out into a circle, and then you fill in with the other stuff, like the leaves and like twigs and smaller branches, and that way you have a full tree, because if you don't, it'll be lopsided or like look a little funky. So let's do that. Kind of just build this in a circle. So right now that's that side done. And like there's not, you don't have to be super precise with this because this tree is going to be covered in leaves. So if the blocks don't make sense or don't look good at this point, it's okay. You're just kind of working on the shape and elevation and like setting up the structure for it. The rest can be fleshed out with the actual leaves. Don't like how thick that is. So right now you can see just from up here, this side's going to be a lot flatter. So maybe I do a little branch here. Because there's a road here, I kind of want to keep it taller. So let's go up and do it like this. So that looks butt ugly right now. But once we fill it with leaves, it'll be okay. And that side I'm okay keeping a little flatter because I think I'm going to stick another tree here. So it doesn't need to be super circular. So then I like to place leaves like this. I kind of hug the branches, at least like, in my head. That's how I kind of make it make sense. Hug the branches with leaves, and then Okay, so that's the branches hugged. It already looks way better. And then you kind of just like kind of fix it so it doesn't look so ugly. Again, you kind of come up to the top and see it doesn't look too bad, but I want it to be more round because it's supposed to be this like kind of like pruned city tree, not like a wild one. It's just growing however it wants. It's definitely going to be getting trimmed back. Fill it in and make it feel a little bit more alive, sparse. Yeah, and this is just, there's no rhyme or reason to this either. It's kind of just whatever looks good. Basically sculpting with blocks the tree and like how you want it to look. And I think that it's getting to a point where it's probably good. And then I kind of just like come down and fix branches. So like this one doesn't look super good to me. You can see the structure a little too much and like maybe give it a little bit like that. I like to try to keep tiers in the tree as well. So here you can see there's like, it's like separation, because if you look at a real tree, there's at least there's separation in how the branches connect, and like it's not just one circular blob like a native Minecraft tree. It's got some separation and like elevation levels to it. So over here I can just go a little bit, and then the top doesn't really matter. The only thing is, again thinking of other sight lines, is here you can see the top, so this looks a little funky to me from up there, so maybe just flesh this out a little bit. Okay, so from ground level here, I think that looks nice. Going up here, still looks okay, still looks okay, still looks okay, still looks okay. Awesome. So I'm kind of happy with that tree. Just check the other angle as well. I like that. Check this angle, like that. That tree is basically done. If I wanted to, I could go in and add some like birch branches and stuff, but I don't really like look at the fences on them. It's just a preference thing. Some people can make them look really good. I don't think I've ever been able to do that, so we'll leave it as is like that. And then I think I'm going to give it another tree in here. So there you go. That's my little trees for that planter. And then for the rest of it, I'm just gonna fill with leaves, kind of how I did for the other one. And then I will, oh boy, bone meal it. So for my bushes and stuff, I like to do, I'm gonna take some of these azalea leaves actually, because that way it'll be a nice tie-in. It won't feel like these are so random. I like to say dark light and like a third leaf. Normally I'll do jungle leaves. You'll see them around because they're add a little bit of like this yellow tint to it. So again, some light and like just texture variation. And then I don't need to go like super crazy here. So maybe just like that'll be an azalea bush there. Some here. Something like this. Bone meal the ground and kind of like let it naturally do some flowers and some grass. But if you want, you can go manually put all that in too. But that probably looks good. I don't like a whole lot of tall grass. Maybe a little bit's okay, but if this is going to be like a planter, it should be fairly trimmed, so get rid of some of that tall grass. And then I'll also add maybe some flowers. Some taller flower bushes, add some color, and they don't normally naturally spawn, so I'll go back in and add those. So we'll do a rose bush or two. Just pops of color here and there, and like realistically, once the buildings are created and stuff, you won't be able to see this. Because of how dark it is in here, and like, all that stuff. And, like, the buildings will kind of overshadow. It's just to add some color and make it feel like you're not in a gray and brown city. Definitely add some of these berries though. I love these little sweet berries. Again, little pop of colors. They're different. They're a little bit darker of a green, which contrasts with the other greens here in the plains biome, which is nice. So that's all done. Those guys will grow pretty quickly, and then I can just kind of texture this. We want to make it so it just breaks up that flat wall. I try not to have like things connecting too much, so like I don't like that look as much, so I'll kind of leave that off. Normally kind of just It's just random. It doesn't have to be like impassable or anything, but just to add a little bit of a breakup of that flat line. And the reason I do that is if you look at things in real life, like anything with like a super flat line looks really man-made. And when I'm trying to do something that looks more natural or whatever, it makes it look a little bit more rugged and lived in versus something that's like super crisp and clean. Like these lines kind of like breaking this up makes it feel cleaner. That's the same reason I do the texturing. This is just too many straight lines in this area would cause it to be too refined, I guess. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of light here, kind of like the chains hanging down from the trees, especially since we're in like the city center. So maybe a couple of those here on these guys too. Definitely want to be somewhere where people can go out at night and it would be inviting and kind of like people would be walking around, you know, there'd be a nightlife here versus in like maybe the poorer part of the city where people kind of just go out to work during the day with the sun up and then go to bed at night when the sun goes down, instead of having any kind of like restaurants or anything. So I'm liking how it's looking. I think that's a good start, at least for this area. I definitely like having a little bit more greenery. Speaking of flat lines, that looks a little flat to me, so maybe I'll just like kind of, yeah, just like that. So even just like one block like that can kind of completely, it no longer looks like it's just one flat line. It's still a little flat, but at least it adds a tiny bit. But walking this way, I like that. I think a retaining wall there is going to be cool with a little bit of an orchard or a yard or something. And then I love the crossroads here. The choice is cool. So, yeah, I think that's all I have time for today. Keep working on this and sharing my feedback or my updates. If you guys like stuff like this, please tell me, let me know down below in the comments, give me some feedback. I'd love to make more stuff like this for you, but if you guys hate this and think I'm stupid, please let me know. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.